I am certainly not the type of person to say ignore everything and lock in. I don't like that feeling. It feels kind of arrogant to me. How can you possibly be the only person in the earth with all the right answers when so many of us are looking for it? How could we ever know that we are right? I definitely don't know. That being said though, so much of what we see, what we hear, and what we consume is just straight up drama. It's usually just AI slop-filled, nonsensical garbage. It is not adding anything useful to your life. Sometimes when I'm doom scrolling for enough hours, I ask myself, do I remember what I just watched in the last 30 minutes? And the answer oftentimes is unfortunately no. I remember watching that cat with a scarf named Winstoni. I remember watching Push, the monkey, and his little doll that was adorable. I remember watching some of the cooking videos and the guitar videos, and those are really delightful and nice and inspiring to me. However, majority of the time, it's some bullshit. I don't remember what I just watched. And it's not even in just doom scrolling that this feeling arises. It's even during reading some serious books or watching some serious documentary or listening to a really good podcast. I think back at it and I realize sometimes I'm just filling in time. Did I actually remember anything I just read? I seriously ask myself that. And if it's not, then I didn't learn shit, and that's okay. The quality of our thoughts and our ability to act on them are certainly totally linked and affect our lives deeply. Wrestling with information that engages us improves the sensibilities of our thoughts, even if it's bad. I mean, there are certain topics that are like puzzles in my head, and they bring out the right questions and they deserve to be aired out. However, many things simply do not feel this way to me. Many things feel like it's drowning me and also making me numb at the same time. And in that way, I cannot be open-minded at all. Sometimes when I'm listening to someone that's giving me advice, I'm almost usually pretty sure I'm not going to listen to it. In this case, I don't say much these days. I used to debate a lot. Usually, it's an older person trying to relay an information that he or she had. They think they have a grasp of, but it often feels like the advice comes from a place of them wanting to be listened to about anything and to be seen. It really isn't about the advice, but rather about themselves wanting to be seen. I am technically probably going to ignore most advice in my life, as should you probably, but I'm not ignoring the person or the messenger, I think. And in this way, there is a lot of love during silence. Even when you're ignoring, you're still kind of listening. This is different from drowning in information. You are still listening and connecting, but you're almost apathetic to the result. And yes, it was once told to me that apathy is the truest form of anger. However, I think a true sense of apathy can lead to open-mindedness. There are people in my own life who I actively have to ignore for the sake of my own reputation. Like they've clearly hurt some of my friends or they've hurt me and I do not want to be associated with them. Multiple times in my life this has happened. And during these times, it feels impossible to pretend not to see someone or to deny even their handshake. It is so difficult to parse out the correct way to be in this act. In fact, if I feel a strong attachment to this person one way or the other, even if I'm trying to ignore them, then they're in my head even longer. Think about your ex, the friend that did you dirty, the ones that hurt you. The times when I'm able to achieve true sense of apathy from them and to move on is in the time when I'm able to forgive them. And this forgiveness means that part of the time you accept that the thoughts of them will arise and there's still a part of me that's always within them and from them. This I think leads to an understanding that they could do whatever they want, but it doesn't necessarily affect your own well-being. So true sense of apathy and ignoring, type that we actually want in some cases, is really similar to the idea of detachment. Funnily enough, ignoring in that manner actually does lead to an open-mindedness towards them. The possibility that the person that you once felt irritated by or considered an enemy can improve or become worse. The possibility that the person you deeply love now can get away from you in the future. The forceful desire to pretend you don't care about someone and that you're actively cutting them out of your life numbs you in some sense. I find myself fantasizing about like random nonsensical scenarios about how I want to debate against them or got revenge against them or embarrass them or beat them in a fight or something. Even worse, you try to root them to be bad in some way. Like you want them to fuck up and prove that you're right. And in that way, they're in your head and only a version of their characteristics is ever actually making it to that. The possibility that they are different or they can be different now simply does not exist. No matter how many tools that we use, no matter how many methods that we create, I firmly believe that understanding is the ultimate way of killing things that we don't want to have in our lives. I don't want to waste time, but I want to understand what it means to waste time. And it's not always clear. Perhaps the thing that I did not want to do was the most helpful thing. Perhaps the thing that I want to avoid doing is actually useless. You never really know. But this type of clarity comes from nothing other than empty space and ignoring. Even without social media and our overstimulated world, this has always been the fact of life. But try to hear everything, then I will understand no one. Your brain must pick what comes to your ear. You never had a choice. I want to be someone that listens intently and someone that understands. If I listen to everything, then I truly cannot understand anyone. Even when we are talking, we put out filler words and drive an emotional response to build a narrative. Even when we are listening, we have to do the exact same thing, don't we? Sometimes people are saying one thing, but they're unable to articulate exactly what they mean. Our job is partly to ignore what was useless in their phrases and try to parse out the emotional resonance and meaning. In this way, ignoring actually helps us become more open-minded to them. It helps us understand them better. I think that's a fantastic concept. So we have to learn to ignore everything to understand others. This, by the way, is probably an impossible concept as far as I know. Even in the quietest room, our own inner world bubbles with everything we've ever experienced. The sights, the noises, the memory, the feeling, the aching, the laughters with others, the heartbreak. It all kind of washes in. For whatever reason, we don't seem to initially like this type of feeling. It's harrowing to us in our default base network. Yet, in these environments, the conditions for understanding, our meta-awareness, seem to finally materialize a little bit. This is how open-mindedness really begins. The possibility of change, what's not being said, and what's being meant can be easily seen in that space. And I say that ignoring in this matter is exactly the same as detachment. And neither one of those words have to be ugly.